Yo, what's up guys, NazUFC here, welcome back to another video. So we're going to be talking about the new submission system in UFC 5. So I already spoke about the submission system in my previous breakdown video. Turns out I was 50% wrong, so this is a revised version. I've spoken to loads of UFC 4 content creators, players, and they've given me their thoughts and ideas on how they think it works. So this is a very well educated guess at how the submission system works on UFC 5. So first of all, we're going to talk about the submission bar here. So as you guys know, the old UFC 4-3-2 system has completely gone, where the blue bar chases the red. That's all gone. There's no mini game. So it works a little bit differently in this game. So we've got this purple bar here, which shows you how much submission health you have. So it's in this game, it's health. So if I was to pull up this picture, which I've got here, that is what you would start off with in this game. But if you were to be put in loads of submissions, right? Because the way this game works is you need to be put in loads of submissions in order for you to tap. Depending on how weak or powerful the submission is, there might be submissions in this game which will make you tap instantly, which will make this bar go from 100 to 0. But from the clips, it looks like these submissions were slowly degrading the player's health. So if we go to the next screenshot, you can see it's just below 50%. This player's probably been put in 2 submissions already, and now it's low. If he gets put in another submission, he might lose the fight, he might tap. But that's not always the case. I'll show you guys what I mean in the trailer in a sec. So in the trailer, you'll see Tony Ferguson actually gets put in an armbar, and his purple bar was about here. He gets put in the armbar, and he actually has like 1% bar left, so he doesn't actually tap out. But although he doesn't tap out, he actually sustains permanent arm damage, which might affect his ability to block. He might get doctor stopped if the round ends. Who knows? So he's in a lot of trouble anyways if he gets up. So there's that. And then there's the empty bar. So here you can see the bar's completely empty. This fighter actually sustained permanent leg damage. So if he were to survive this somehow like Tony Ferguson did, then he would have permanent leg damage, which would affect his ability to walk, throw kicks, even throw punches. I think having leg damage in this game is bad. Very bad, you know, so make sure you guys check your leg kicks. So we'll go back to the YouTube clip. So I've actually got rid of the music because of copyright audio, and we're gonna watch this clip frame by frame just to talk about everything so we don't miss anything. So we're looking at Charles Oliveira, who's in the bottom turtle position. Islam Makhachev's on top, the more dominant position. Oliveira's in the blue corner, blue gloves. Makhachev's fighting at the red corner. So we can see that Oliveira's already initiated a sub. It's completed. The transition is done. So that's why we can't actually see any transition options. He's already moving. He's won it. And it looks like he's rolling from UFC 4. It would look like he's rolling for a knee bar. In this game, it's not the case. So if we actually start moving forward, so he hooks a leg like you would in UFC 4. And in UFC 4, the transition would stop around there. It would stop there, and then he would start pulling on that leg and like cranking the knee, right? That's not the case. This animation actually carries on to here, and now here looks like he can go for like one of those ankle locks or knee locks, and now we're in a different position. So the submission actually hasn't started yet. They're just in a position. A lot of people call this the 50-50 position. Maybe you can call it that. I'm not much of a jiu-jitsu guy, but someone I spoke to said, so I'll play it until the transition pops up. So now we can see that Oliveira can start leg locks, or he can go into top side control, I believe. I don't know if that will put him on bottom or top. Makhachev can go to backside. Pardon me. So Oliveira has DOA, double outside Ashi, which has allowed him to isolate Makhachev's legs. So they're not in an equal position. Oliveira is in the more dominant position. Islam Makhachev is actually the one in trouble here. although he has an option to go for submissions here, we don't know if he has any submission options here if he holds it down anyways. So Makhachev is in danger right now, is what someone told me. And the only way he can possibly get out of this position, so I'm going to show you guys my controller for reference. Oh, that's my game capture. So where's my controller at? There it is. So the only way Makhachev could get out of this, judging from what we've seen in the clip and what I'm going to say is a guess, he could defend the leg lock if he wanted by holding down R2 and flicking up, right, like you would on UFC. That would give him grapple advantage. Grapple advantage is up here. If you don't know what grapple advantage, watch a UFC 4 grapple advantage video. He could deny this submission, which will give him grapple advantage, like I just said, then transition out. Or, because he has stamina advantage anyways, Oliveira's stamina bar's low, he could go straight for backside, and his transition will be a lot faster than Oliveira's because he's got stamina advantage. Remember, guys, if you have low stamina, then your transitions are going to be slower. Your sub-attempt transitions will be slow too. So, we'll play the clip again. Let me go for the clip. So we're pausing it. It's a bit slow. So Makhachev actually goes for backside. All of a sudden, Oliveira's transition options have disappeared, so he can't go for anything now. Oliveira in this situation might be able to deny that. You could hold R2, flick left to prevent Makhachev going to backside, which will keep them in this position. That would give him GA, and it would also reduce Makhachev's stamina bar, which will give him the option to go for the leg locks again if he wanted, or he can go for side control. I'm not sure if you're able to, but this is a guess again. Oliveira might be able to punch or smack Islam Makhachev here in this position to stop him from transitioning too. I don't know if that's possible. It could be. Look how close they are to each other's face. His hand's literally right there. He could give him a quick smack on the jaw if he wanted. But we don't see that in this clip, so we're going to carry on. And Makhachev rolls around. Oliveira actually gets the option to go side control here, but he's not able to because he's not got the stamina advantage. The transition's too slow. But notice how they're in this position, this stuck position, for a very long time. You know, they're here for a long time. And you see that if you notice, I'll show you guys in a sec. So they actually get stuck in this position for a long time, and Oliveira's transition's very slow here. It's slow, and you watch it; it disappears about halfway, right? Perhaps if he had stamina advantage and he was able to complete that transition, he would beat Islam Makhachev and get side control. But unfortunately, that's not the case because he doesn't have stamina advantage. You know, if he had stamina advantage, he probably would have won this transition battle. That makes sense. Watch it; it will disappear before it gets completed. There, it completes there. So, the transition Makhachev went for is a really slow transition. So Makhachev actually, he's able to defend against that dangerous situation by transitioning. So now he's free, he's out, and they're back in that same turtle position. Oh, if we go back, we actually saw some transition options we can look at. There you go. So Makhachev's the red corner. He's got a posture up. He could do ground and pound if he wanted. He could go to sprawl, back mount, back sitting. It doesn't give him an option to hold down L2 to go for subs here, or maybe you have to hold it down anyways. Oliveira could roll to his left to go side control, or he could pull guard by going right, or he could go for a get up. But I'm guessing if he holds L2, he could roll into that DOH position, which I was on about earlier. And yeah, we'll carry on to this seamless submissions. Oh, here's the next clip, guys. So now they're in that same DOH position, or the 50-50 position, as you guys might call it. Daikis actually has low submission health here, which probably means he's already been put in a few submissions already, and now it's low. So Daikis, it looks like he's not going for anything here. He's not going for backside or get up. he's actually got the option to go for get up, which Islam Makhachev didn't have. I'm guessing this option pops up if Oliveira goes for the leg lock first. You might be able to hit that if you have stamina advantage. In this situation, he doesn't. He actually has slightly less stamina than Oliveira. Oliveira goes for a leg lock. It's already half complete by the time Daikis actually goes for the leg lock. It's actually 75% complete. So Daikis, from my UFC knowledge, Daikis has made the wrong move. Oliveira, instead he should have defended the transition instead, if that makes sense to you guys. So instead, what he could have done was hold down R2, flick right, defend the submission. That would drain Oliveira's stam and give Daiki grapple advantage, which would give him the ability to either break out or go for a submission himself. But that's not the case here. Oliveira goes for the leg lock and he manages to get it in. So he's going for that leg lock. Daikis is going for the get up. And now it's just a matter of who completes their transition first. And in this case, Oliveira completes it. So both the transitions have combined. You know, this happens a lot in UFC 4. And instead of it being a leg lock, you know, it actually chains into a calf slicer, as you'll see here. I don't know if this means it will do more damage or it will do less. I don't know. But the calf slicer is a nasty sub, so it probably does do more damage. You can see here, his stamina bar is now empty. Daikis has been defeated. He's going to tap out. He's also sustained permanent leg damage. So if he were to survive this, if he were to be someone like Tony Ferguson and survive this, he would have permanent leg damage. Or if this Oliveira wasn't actually Oliveira, it was a bum, like CM Punk, then he probably wouldn't have enough submission offense stats to actually do enough damage to beat Daikis, if that makes sense to you guys. And yeah, so in a second you'll see Daikis tap out. There you go. All right, guys. So from this clip between Islam Makhachev and Oliveira, you don't see much of the submission, but there still is a lot to talk about. So first of all, Oliveira's in the bottom of half guard. Out the blue corner, so these are his options. He's going for the Kimura. And we all know from UFC 4, going for that bottom half guard Kimura was pretty weak. But I don't think that's the case in this game. Kimura actually gave Oliveira a dominant position. He flips Makhachev in a second, I'll show you, into side control. And that never used to happen on UFC 4, so we will start to see a lot more players go for that Kimura option in UFC 5. But notice, before we carry on, Oliveira has really low stamina, so he hasn't got the stamina advantage. Rather, Makhachev has the stamina advantage. He could be potentially making a mistake. So if we ignore the clock speed, let's just say there was 3 minutes left. If Makhachev was a good player, I'll show you guys the controller. As soon as Oliveira went for that Kimura and it started loading, Makhachev's arm triangle option appeared here. And we don't know if that arm triangle was always there, but he could have went for that arm triangle straight away, and it would have been a really fast transition because he's got stamina advantage, and he would have beat Oliveira in that race to complete your transition first. So Makhachev would have got a choke, and not confirmed yet, but I believe going for chokes in this game will win you the fight instantly. That purple bar submission that you have would go from 100 to 0. That's what I think will happen. That might mean that these options will not always be there when nothing's happening. You know, your opponent might need to move in a certain direction first for these options to pop up. Who knows? That could be the case. But in this clip, Makhachev doesn't go for the arm triangle. He misses the opportunity. Rather, Oliveira completes the Kimura sub. But instead of the submission starting here like it would in UFC 4, Oliveira actually flips Makhachev onto his back like that. And now he's got top position side control. He's got him in this position where he's holding his arm in that Kimura lock position. But before that sub starts, he's actually got the option to go for knee on belly or the submission. Bearing in mind, he's still got low stamina here. So Makhachev's still got the stamina advantage. If I'm Makhachev, I'm moving straight away. I'm using one of these full guard or backside transitions. I'd probably go backside or full guard, but to be fair, he's safe because there's 1 second left on the clock anyways. But ignore the clock, guys. Pretend there's lots of time left anyways. If I'm Oliveira, and I would probably focus on denying a transition first. Does he have him in crucifix? No, he doesn't. It's not crucifix. I thought it was for a second. But I wonder if you're able to deny transitions if you're Oliveira here. You probably are. So if Makhachev was to go left, I'm guessing we'll see an animation of Makhachev nudging left. You'll just have to hold R2 and flick right on the left stick, I assume. If Makhachev was to move right, he'd go R2 and right. If he was to go for the Kimura, now let's pretend we're using Makhachev. Makhachev would probably have to hold R2 and go right. That's only if he has low stamina or if their stamina is equal. But yeah, right now if I'm Makhachev, I'm using the transitions to get out of here because I've got the stamina advantage. My transition speed will be a lot faster than Oliveira's. So we don't actually see much of the submission in this clip. We actually carry on. All right, guys. So from this clip, you actually learn a lot. So we've got Gilbert Burns on top, Tony Ferguson on bottom. So Tony Ferguson, who's fighting out the blue corner, he's actually going for a Kimura attempt. And you can see his transition bar here is actually loading. It's between the 3 and 4 o'clock mark. And watch what happens in a second. So I'm going to play it and pause it really quick. It disappears. So I think we've got our first look at what a denial looks like. And if you've played the UFC 4, and if your transition gets denied between that 3 and 5 o'clock mark, that's pretty early. And now what we're about to see is a reversal. So a reversal is when you hit a denial really fast and you're able to flip position and get a dangerous position. So in a second, you're about to see Gilbert Burns advance into a very dominant, dangerous position for Tony Ferguson. So from the previous clip, when Oliveira went for that Kimura, he actually flips Makhachev over. But that's not the case here. Because Gilbert Burns hit the reversal, he actually walks around Tony Ferguson like this and straight into that spiderweb position. But guys, remember, hitting a reversal is really hard. If you've played UFC 4, you know that hitting reversals can be crazy hard to get. You need to guess most of the time, or you need to have crazy stamina advantage. But in this case, he doesn't really have too much stamina advantage. But he's hit a denial, which will give him grapple advantage in a second once this transition option is complete. But I'm going to keep pausing, guys, frame by frame. We're going to be watching this. So in a second, you'll see that now they're in the spiderweb position. So before Gilbert Burns actually initiates the armbar, he will in a second. He's got the option to go top back sitting if he wants. Back sitting is where he has him in that rear naked choke position, I believe. Yeah, so he's got the option to actually pull Ferguson up so he can potentially, have Ferguson's back. So he's in a very good position. Ferguson's submission bar is already low here, so he's in trouble if he gets submitted, right? Ferguson's actually got the option, so this will change in a second. I've just noticed. I didn't realise this. Ferguson's got the option to go right into full guard, which I'm guessing will give him top full guard control, and he's got the option to go left. So someone actually commented this in my previous video. In BJJ, so I'm not a BJJ guy. I'm guessing this person was. He said Ferguson could escape this position if he moves left, and it's called the Hitchcock escape, this person said. And I'll show you guys a clip of what that Hitchcock escape looks like so you guys can get an idea of what the animation will look like if Ferguson was to go left. But you've got to remember, guys, we don't know how fast that transition option will be yet. Because you've got to remember, he's in a dangerous situation anyways. He's pretty, he's screwed, and he hasn't got any grapple advantage. In a second, Gilbert Burns will gain grapple advantage. You'll see in a sec. He hasn't got stamina advantage too. He's actually got lower stamina than Gilbert Burns now. So going for that side control option might not be the best. Rather, Ferguson should be be focused on denying that armbar. So he should hold down R2 and flick up. That's what you would do if you were Tony Ferguson in this situation. Once you've done that, once you've denied that armbar, you probably would have gained yourself some stamina. Gilbert Burns would have lost stamina. So now you've got stamina and grapple advantage. Then you can think about moving out. But we'll pause it again. So there you go. There's a better look at the full guard side control options. So in a second, they change. So now we see here Gilbert Burns has initiated that armbar transition. And he's got grapple advantage. He's got a lot of grapple advantage here. So it will probably be a really bad idea for Ferguson to use one of these side control option transitions. Notice that full guard transition has actually changed to side control now. And I'm quickly going to show you guys a clip of what the Hitchcock escape looks like. So shout out to Zombie Proof BJJ. So if Ferguson was to move left like that, he would have done something like that. The animation would have looked like that. But you got to remember, guys, this is a video game. The transition option would be really slow because he's not got stamina advantage and he hasn't got the grapple advantage. So now Gilbert Burns actually successfully locks in this armbar. There you go. Now Ferguson can't do anything. It's already taken the health from him. He's actually sustained permanent arm damage. Notice how his bar is actually at 0 here. I don't know if it's an attribute in the game or a stat, but watch this. His purple bar actually pops back in by 1%. He's gone all red here, by the way. And that bar's there. You can see it clearly now. So it went from 0% to now 1%. And he survived. So I don't know if that's because he survived a really intense armbar in real life, but he's got an attribute or a stat in this game which has caused him to survive this armbar. We know this because he doesn't tap in this clip. They cut it off short. But he has now sustained permanent arm damage, which means if they were to go back onto the feet and strike, he might not be able to block on that side of the face. He might not be able to use that arm to punch, which is crazy. That would completely change UFC 5 if that's the case. He doesn't tap. Look, he's about to tap, and the clip gets cut off. Boom. I'm going to show you guys something else. So this transition where he reverses it and goes into this armbar was actually done in real life between Matt Hughes and GSP. So if you look at that, the exact same thing happens. GSP's going for that Kimura, and Matt Hughes goes for that armbar. So it could be a reference to this fight, and he successfully wins. So there you go. It's exactly the same as that Matt Hughes GSP fight. Goes for that armbar. So we can go into real time now, can't we? Boom, boom. And he doesn't tap. Crazy. So guys, that's basically it for my video. Hope that's helped. Hope that's given you a better idea of how the submission system works. If this video has been useful to you at all, drop a like, drop a comment, give me your thoughts on what you feel the game's like. I know a lot of people had complaints about the graphics, but you've got to remember, guys, they've got to render video. It's not actually going to look like that. If they adjust the lighting a bit, it might look a lot better. But you got to remember, guys, the game's in early development. The game might start to look good about a year in. UFC 4 got really more attractive to people about a year and a half in when they started to fix a few graphical issues, a few of the character models, and a few of the punchy glitches that kept happening, and they nerfed and tuned a few of the OP subs. So you've got to be patient, guys, when this game comes out. There's going to expect to be disappointed a lot, you know. And yeah, that's basically it, guys. So I'll see you guys in my next video. Peace.